Hello everyone. If you clicked on this video, it means you want to improve in your chess games. There are 3 mistakes I often see players make, whether they're beginners or grandmasters, that can seriously hurt their ratings. In today's video, I'll show you 3 games where grandmasters made these errors and how it cost them. So, let's stop wasting time and jump right into it. First up is greed. We've all experienced it. You spot a free pawn or piece, your eyes light up, and you snatch it like it's a big, juicy sausage. I bet you know exactly how that feels. Anyway, this happened to Grandmaster Bobby Fischer in 1972 against Boris Spassky. In this position, Boris Spassky trades the knights and ends up with a 6-pawns bishop endgame that results in a draw, so the game should end in a draw, right? No, because after Boris played b5, Fischer saw the pawn on h2 and got blinded by greed. He took the pawn on h2 and ended up getting his bishop trapped by the simple move g3, which is where we got this iconic photo of both of them. Fischer played h5 trying to free his bishop, but Boris just calmly moved his king closer, like how I did to your mom last night, and ended up trading and kept playing until move 56 after Fischer resigning. 7. Now the takeaways here is simple. Before taking a free pawn or piece, you should stop and wait. Assume it's a trap until you can prove that it's not. Winning a pawn or a piece means nothing if your king gets checkmated. Now, before we get to number 2, I'm going to give you 3 puzzles, and you have to tell me, is it free or not? Is this free or not? Remember, you can pause this video if you need to. If you got that right, good job. If not, better luck next time. Is this free or not? Now on this one it's free, but after you have to sack your rook and pawn, but yes, you are winning. Is this free or not? Now this one you cannot take the free queen because the rook will mate you. Next up is relaxing too early. This happens when you find a brilliant tactic or your opponent makes a mistake. You start mentally celebrating without even realizing it, thinking the game is over. As a result, you stop calculating carefully, play lazily, and then you miss something, and now you are losing, wondering how did this happen? Well, for this happened to Magnus Carlsen versus Gyökş in Norway Chess 2025. Magnus completely outplayed him and was steering a totally winning position. It was a guaranteed victory. But right at the end, assuming the game was smoothly wrapped up, Magnus relaxed for a split second and played the massive blunder on move 52, playing knight e2. Completely missing a tactic of rook taking on e2, forcing to take, and knight takes his rook on f8. Now you might be wondering, why did he do that? He still had time, right? Yes. But he himself said he thought he would have enough time to push his pawns before the both knight and king couldn't stop it, but he was wrong and paid for it dearly. Gyökş pounced instantly, completely turned the tables, and won the game. Magnus was so furious at himself for throwing away a total win that he literally slammed the table.
Oh my God! Emotional, damn it!
Now what is the lesson? Even if you are up a piece, you should still not let down your guard, or that might be the last thing you'll see. Finally, we have tunnel vision. This is when you fall so deeply in love with your own attacking plan on one side of the board that you completely forget your opponent gets a turn, too. In 1956, Tigran Petrosian, a future world champion famously known as one of the greatest defensive players in history, fell right into this trap against David Bronstein. In this position, it was plus 3.9. Petrosian was hyper-focused on constructing a beautiful strategic layout and launching his own ideas. He got so locked into his own mind that he played a move and literally left his entire queen hanging to a simple, undefended knight capture. He realized it a second after letting go of the piece. For this one, it's pretty clear that you should always look at what your opponent accomplished with their last move and see if it hurts your plan. This is the complete opposite of tunnel vision. Instead of missing a real threat, you convince yourself there's danger where there is none. You spend 3 for moves defending against an attack that never even would have worked, weakening your own position because you're chasing a threat that isn't real or works. Even Garry Kasparov, one of the greatest chess players of all time, fell into this trap during his famous match against IBM's Deep Blue, the first engine ever made. At one point, Deep Blue played a quiet, unusual move that didn't actually create an immediate threat. Kasparov became so focused on uncovering the computer's hidden plan that he started seeing dangers that weren't there. He changed his play to defend against a fake attack, lost the initiative, and his position crumbled like your mom when she sees a man. The takeaway is simple: don't react out of fear. Before you abandon your own plan, make your opponent prove there's a real threat to answer. Now I will give you 3 more puzzles, solve them, and in the comments make sure to tell me the solution. Now this one is the second one. And finally, the last one. Now, if you even figured one of them out, you should be proud of yourself, and if not, that just means you need to do some more puzzles. We have a habit that ruins players at every single skill level. Hope chess. This is when you make a move, cross your fingers in your mind, and think, man, I really hope they don't see what I'm doing. Or please just blunder your piece. Instead of looking for the best possible response for you or your opponent, you play a move that only works if they make a massive blunder. The classic example of this is the Scholar's Mate, the famous 4-move checkmate. It works beautifully against someone who just learned how the pieces move. But if you try it against anyone who knows what they're doing, they will defend it easily, kick your queen around the board, and leave you with a terrible position. Some people might tell you, oh, you need to play the Scholar's Mate, or say, maybe if I sack a piece and get forked by a knight. Yes, some people might fall for it, and you might gain yellow, but at the end you didn't learn anything, and it won't work in higher levels. When you play Hope chess, you aren't playing the board, you're playing a lottery. The golden rule is simple. Always assume your opponent is going to see your plan. Or like Alexander Kotov said, when calculating a variation, you must first of all find all the moves of your opponent's possible candidate responses, and you must assume he will find it. If your move only works if they play badly, do not make that move. I think this is where I'll wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, let me know and I'll make more like this.